o te atu rā e tuku karakia mo tātou me te mihi ki ngā mate, haere ngā mate, haere ngā mihi, haere ngā kōrero. Tēnei te ara kei runga ko te ara, o tēnei te pua te ara, o tēnei ariki te ara, o tēnei matua iwe. Kia ora rau, i ora ngā tapu wai o tāne, tēnei te pō, nau mai te ao. Ki ngā kaupapa kei mui a tātou, kia uriwiri a, kia wānanga tia, kia eke ki ngā taumata e tō tika ai tā tātou no. Ko ia rā e rongo, wakiri aka ki runga wai. Tūturu o huti waka maua kia tīnā.
Tīnā.
Ui e.
Aitken. Ka pai. Thank you, Uncle. Just letting all members know, please, that this has been recorded. So welcome to all iwi members, councillors and council staff. I have not received any apologies. Do we have any apologies, please?
Yes, through you, the Chair, we have apologies from Benita, Deputy Mayor Northcott, and one more, Leanne Horo.
Yeah. Okay, so...
one more, Your Worship.
Sorry.
Not sure about Napari.
Napari.
I think he's still an Aussie.
Good on him. Good on him. Okay, so if there's no further apologies, would someone like to move the acceptance of those four, please? Benita, Rob, Leanne. Yep. Thank you.
Marty, move that way.
Yeah, thank you, Marty. Is there a seconder, please? Uncle Sandy. Moved, seconded, discussion. Put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Against? It is carried. Okay. Do we have any open forum or presentations? I'm not aware of any. Sorry, I'm just looking in the meeting chat. Paul, are you online or were you an apology? No, it looks like you're online.
Paul's online.
I'm online.
Yeah, okay. I was just looking in the chat, but I can see that now. Okay, so we're going to move on now to page 6, confirmation of the minutes of the meeting on the 9th. Someone like to move that we adopt them as a true and correct record, please? Thank you, John. Seconder, John Hooker. Seconder, Councillor Langton. They're open for discussion. Anyone got any comments or discussion on those minutes, please? Okay, if no one has anything on them, I will put the motion that they were a true and correct record. All those in favour, please say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
Against? It is carried. Okay, so now moving on to page 12, items for action. Does anyone have any comments on those 3 items for action, please? So we're making good progress with the road naming policy. That's progressing well. Obviously later in the meeting we're going to talk about our partnership strategy, and another big one for the year obviously is the local body elections, which are coming up in October on the 8th. So if no one's got any comments on any of those, we will move on to information reports, and so we'll start on page 13 with Environmental Services Activity Report. Someone like to move that we receive that, please? Move John Hooker, seconded Marty. Davis, open for discussion. Do you want to have some comment there, Liam?
Yeah, thanks, Your Worship. Good morning, everyone. Just probably 5 or 6 points across the top of the report. There's about 2 months worth of data there for February and March. The building consent volumes are showing a bit of an upward trend, and it's good to see that our statutory compliance is sort of increasing with that as well. So we're sort of still aiming to get to 100%, but mid-80s is I'll take that for the moment. I guess some of the other highlights, there's still a consistently sort of high number of new houses being lodged with Hara and Opunake. I guess the main areas, Opunake are sort of 50-50, whether they're in the townships or out in the outlying areas. It's probably also pleasing to see that we've, I guess, shrunk the notice to fix and dangerous building notice list of offenders. Current focus at the moment is around the Patia Cool Store, Bridge Street, Eltham, which has been the subject of a bit of media attention of late, and a couple of properties in Hara. And I think we're picking up the conversation with Rūnanga iwi members after this meeting, just to talk about the Patia Cool Store in a little bit more detail. Subdivisions, still remain strong, I guess, across the district. One thing that we'll do for subsequent reports is start to translate those, I guess, the consents lodged into actual lots, and that was a suggestion that came from one of the community board meetings a couple of weeks ago. So yeah, subdivisions, those 23 subbies translates to about 113 new lots in the district, and the majority of those are in the rural zone. So that's been, I guess, an interesting finding. Animal control remains a concern, and we're starting, I guess, the conversation with the various committees, starting with Environment Hearings Committee this afternoon, just on next steps for how we review and look into that a bit deeper, to see if we can start to arrest those trends that have been, I guess, there for a fair few months now. And I guess on that, one other feature of the report, it's not documented in this, but looking a bit closely at our resolution profiles around some of those regulatory activities. So I've got the staff to do some work on, sort of identifying what we've actually been able to resolve across abandoned vehicles or illegal dumping or animals. So we'll be bringing that data to you in subsequent meetings. So, for this round, abandoned vehicles, we've had a high degree of success in bringing some of those matters to a conclusion, or infringement or impoundment. Illegal dumping, not so much. We struck out on all of the illegal dumping incidents we had. We just had to go and clean them up, which was a bit of a bugger, but we're going to try and work on that and bring a bit more transparency into some of the activities that the team does. Just to finish on a positive note, a whole heap of activity in environment sustainability, Dr. Rebecca Martin's area in Taran, and the organic waste feasibility study has been a major focus for that team over the last little while. The report's in the process of being finalised, and I think the workshops have been scheduled for May and June for elected members and members of this committee. And as you can see, there's a whole range of submissions going back and forth between council and central government, and the ETS, or the emissions trading scheme, will pick up at staff level conversation after this meeting in with Rūnanga iwi, and get that to a fit state before we submit to central government. But happy to take any questions, Your Worship.
Thank you. Has anyone got any comments? Marty, you got your hand up.
Thank you, Your Worship, Liam and Marianne. Just a couple of points I noticed in the building consents work. It identifies Waverley. Does that go right down to Waitotara to the end of your boundary?
Through the chair, yes, it does. We don't break it up into Waverley or Waitote, but we can, similar to what we've done for Opunake, Marty.
No. That's enough information. And just finally, a bouquet, not a brickbat. With
We like those.
Yes, with my Mere Marae hat on as the chair, I just want to thank you, Leanne, for getting us across the line in terms of the consent for the building project at Mere Pa. Kia ora. Thank you very much. Thank you, Your Worship.
Any other comments? Thank you, Marty. Just a couple of things while people are thinking about it. It's pretty exciting what's happening in our district when you look at the new residential building that's going on, as well as our business park is going gangbusters. To have 8 new houses in Hawera and 8 in Opanaki, 1 in Patia, over the 2 months of February and March, I think is fantastic, and that equates to just over $21.5 million worth of investment in building going on in our district. So it's pretty exciting what's happening, and whilst still under a lot of pressure, it's good to see those consent timelines are coming right, Lem. That's really good to see. So yeah, just exciting stuff happening right throughout, and also in trying times where it's hard to get contractors and hard to get materials, but we seem to have it happening, so it's really good. So anyone else got any queries or comments on that report, please? If not, I put the motion that we receive that. All those in favour, please say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Against? It is carried. Okay, so moving on now to page 27, Community Development Activity Report. Someone like to move we receive that, please? So moved Marty, seconded Uncle Sandy. Open for discussion, please. Any comments on that one? Do you want to comment on that at all, Fiona?
Thank you, Your Worship. Just a couple of updates since the writing of the report. Paragraph 2, we talk about the rapid antigen test distribution centres that Council have been operating. That is now reduced down to just Hawera at TSB Hub in Hawera. The Eltham Centre last week only had, I think it was a total of 4 people come into it over the course of the week. So the DHB decided that they could deal with that number of deliveries in different ways. The centre at TSB Hub is still proving relatively steady as far as numbers go. The other thing I just wanted to highlight was with all this latest traffic light settings and things, we've had a number of our council funds that have had extensions on them. Particularly notable for this committee is the Tangata Whenua Liaison Fund that normally closes on the 31st of March. That has been extended out to the 30th of April. So if you do need to remind anybody, they still have a few days left to get their applications in. And other than that, happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Fiona. Any questions or queries on that one? I'd just like to comment again that, when we look at that area, there's a lot going on in the district now, and it's really good to see that we are starting to now have some face-to-face activities and events happening in the district, which is really good. And I think people are actually hanging out for getting together and hanging out and not being online or just texting and that. I think people are just wanting to get out and enjoy themselves, which I think the wonderful weather over Easter showed that, and the events that were on, not only in our district but right through the Mutu, were certainly showing that people wanted to get out and get together. So yeah, really good to see. So any comments on that report, please, or questions for Fiona? If not, I'll put the motion that we receive that. All those in favour, please say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Thank you. Against? It is carried. Okay, so now moving on to page 36, the Community Development Report. Someone like to move that we receive that, please? Sorry,
Community Services.
Services report. Sorry, I've done that wrong. Someone like to move we receive that, please. Thank you, John Hooker. Seconder. Thank you, Marty. Second. It is open for discussion.
So through you, Your Worship, just a couple of things. Obviously, our community services have been the largest to be impacted by COVID-19 and staff having to isolate. So we have had some facilities that have either had shortened opening hours or in the case of our pools, we had them shut for a period of time as well, and some of them closed early. But it is good to see that things are sort of starting to get on the up and up largely. And as the Mayor's already mentioned, events and activities are starting to re-emerge and happen in person, although that will take a bit of time. Our delivery services and things that we're operating out of our libraries are still proving popular. People are still cautious about getting out and about, but things are starting to happen. And of course, this week we are operating a holiday program across the district this week and next week as well. So happy to answer any questions.
So any questions on community services? Just a couple of comments I've got on that report. Just noting under number 4 on page 36 and 37 is the lifeguards. I mean, as Fiona's just said, we did struggle this year towards the end because of COVID and a few things that were happening. But it's also always good to have those numbers up. So look, if you know of anyone in the community, I know it's early yet, it's a long time till the pool's open again, but we certainly need to be able to talk about that. And who is available to join the teams there. It can be quite rewarding, and we really like to see locals, you know, that are lifeguards at local pools. So if you're in any discussion at any time with anyone, please make sure that young people are aware of that and put their name forward. As it says in there, you don't have to be able to like swim the cook straight in a hurry or anything like that, but you know, there's obviously certain level that they have to be at, but that's not hard to achieve, and it's a great holiday thing for people over Christmas. So yeah, keep that one in mind. Fiona, just a question on the events. Now, likes of, we're talking about Ben Hurley, which is not the only one. We talk about 200 people. That's now gone as well, hasn't it?
Yes, so now that of course, this report was written while we were still in the red traffic light setting. So now that we're in orange, there are no restrictions for numbers. So where the facilities allow, we could in fact sell more than 200 tickets to events. Yep. Yep,
thank you. And the other one I just wanted to highlight was Library Plus again. I mean, they just innovate all the time and do some really exciting stuff. And so great to see they now have a selection of puzzles and board games and that for people, and also the fact that they're now going out and reaching out to further communities and have just been up to Ngā Marapuri. So that's really good to see, because all these places, even though some of them are a bit distant, they're still just as important and part of our community as any of our other towns. Okay, so anyone got any further queries or comments on that report, please? Community Services. If not, I put the motion that we receive that. All those in favour, please say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Against? It is carried. Okay. So now we move on to page 40, and we have Benita's Te Maruata report. Someone like to move that we receive that, please? Thank you, Uncle Sandy. Seconded, John Hooker. Thank you. That report I will take as read and is open for discussion. The actual report is page 41. Okay, just a comment I've got on it. Benita suggests in there that she's hopeful that South Taranaki District Council is supporting some of us to attend, or some of you, sorry, from this committee. this year, as you'll be aware, the conference is in Palmerston North, and so our budget will stretch a bit further than normal because we haven't got airfares and things like that. So we're happy to actually open that up to 2 members of this committee. If people wish to put their name forward, they can contact Becky and see where we go from there. But if there's 2 from Kāhui Matauraura who would like to attend that conference, it would be our pleasure to put their names forward for it. So anyone got any further comments or queries on Benita's report? Okay, if not, I'll put the motion that we receive the report. All those in favour, please say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Against? It is carried. Thank you. Do we have any general issues that anyone would like to bring up, please?
Just through the chair. It's around the Te Ramanui blessing. So we just had an update from Phil Waid regarding the contractors, the demolition team and the new contractors. We will talk about this further with Aorangi and whānau, just around the coordination of that. But we're looking around the week of the 9th to the 13th of May to hopefully do that blessing. That gives the demolition team Jurgens time to remove their fencing, etc., and the new contractors to at least put fencing up around the perimeter before we can start any work. But just an update on that. So Graham, I'll have a catch up with you and Nicola and Ngāti, etc., and Opal when you guys are available, and we'll discuss any sort of logistics.
Yeah, just let us know, Reg, when you want to do that.
Kia pai, kia ora.
Ka pai, that's exciting. That's to the next stage. That's really good to see. So anyone got any other general issues, please? Okay, if not, we're going to now move into publicly excluded. Someone would like to move, please, into PE?
I'll move, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Graham. Seconded, John Hooker. Discussion. Put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Against? It is carried. Okay, so we're in PE. Sorry, just clarifying, we had a mover and second out of PE?
Correct.
Yep. So I'll put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Against? Aye. It is carried. We're back in open meeting. That brings us to the end of our agenda. Thank you very much to everyone. I will now ask Uncle Sandy, please, to close us off. Thank you, Uncle. You're still on mute, Uncle. Ka pai. No, back on mute. Now you're right.
Now, you're right now.
Ka pai. Unuhia, te uru tapanui, kia māmā tanaka te tinana te wairua, te ara takatū. Ko ia rā e rongo, wakiri aka kironga, tūturu o huti waka maua kia tēnā.
Tēnā.
Ui e.
Tākie.
Ka kite anō.